When a movie is made about Michael Jackson, people are not just going to watch casually. They are going to study it. They are going to compare every look, every move, every performance, every emotion, and every decision. And that is so interesting is not just the name. It is the pressure around it. Most biopics only have to convince people that the actor looks believable. This one has to convince people that they are watching someone step into the world of Michael Jackson, a figure whose image, voice, movement, stage presence, and public life are all burned into global pop culture. That is a completely different level of expectation. And honestly, that is the first reason this movie has so much curiosity around it. Fans are not just asking whether the movie will be good. They are asking whether a movie like this can even feel convincing. Because with Michael Jackson, people already have a picture in their minds. Not a vague one. A very specific one. The look, the performances, the mystery, the scale, the stardom. So the moment this movie was announced, the question was never going to be simple. It was always going to be, can this actually work? And then there is the casting. The fact that Jaafar Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew, is playing him instantly makes the project more interesting. Because that makes people feel like this is not just imitation. It makes the whole thing feel more personal, more closely watched, and honestly more intense. There is already built-in curiosity there. People want to see whether that family connection brings something real to the performance. Whether it adds authenticity. Whether it adds pressure. Whether it changes the emotional weight of the whole movie. And that is why people keep watching every trailer. It feels small, fans will reject it immediately. This has to feel like spectacle. It has to feel like legacy. It has to feel like the life of someone who became larger than pop music itself. That is why this movie is entering a very specific kind of conversation. Not just, will it be entertaining? But, will it feel worthy of the subject? That is a much harder question. And honestly, that is why this movie has such a strong YouTube video kind of appeal too. It commands worldwide attention. And there is uncertainty because portraying someone that iconic is incredibly difficult. That combination is what makes people click. That combination is what makes people debate. And that combination is what makes this feel like more than just another release on the calendar. It feels like an event people want to judge for themselves. And the trailers only add to that feeling. They are clearly trying to sell transformation, performance, and scale. They want you to feel that this is not just a story being told. They want you to feel like a legend is being recreated. And that is a very high-risk, high-reward move. If the film lands, people will talk about the performance, the music, the emotional weight, and the ambition. If it misses, people will say it never stood a chance against expectations that high. Either way, people are going to talk. And that is why I think the Michael movie has everyone watching. Not just because of who Michael Jackson was, but because this project is walking into one of the hardest challenges any biopic can face. Trying to capture someone the whole world already thinks it knows. And when a movie takes on that kind of challenge, people do not ignore it. They watch closely. They compare everything. They wait for the moment where they either believe it, or they do not. And that is exactly why this movie feels so big already. It is not just selling nostalgia. It is selling a test. A test of performance. A test of scale. A test of storytelling. And a test of whether a film can step into the shadow of a global icon and still feel powerful on its own. That is why fans are curious. That is why this movie has pressure. And that is why so many people are going to check it out the moment it arrives. But here is the real question. Will Michael actually feel like an event once the full movie is here? Or is the hype bigger than the film itself?